My partner and I, Abby, we got together in May of 2021. So not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. And as with a lot of relationships, if you want to call it the honeymoon period, it was great. We spent so much time together. And one of the things that we did, more so led by her, is we spent a lot of time sat, be that on the sofa or the floor or at the dinner table. We cooked and we ate really healthy food, which was largely driven by me, cooking steak, prawns. We get crabs from the local market and process and cook things like crab together and lobster and lots of really nutrient-dense food, right? However, what was led by her and also encouraged by me was us also drinking quite a lot. And by drinking, I don't mean drinking with the intention of getting drunk, but we drank a lot of wine. We both like wine. She likes white wine, I like red wine. So we'd get a bottle of wine. And this wasn't just like a once a week occurrence. During the first part of our relationship, it was happening quite often. And for me, at least, during the first 6 months, it was great. We got to know each other so well, so quickly. A lot of opinions that we had, we resonated, we connected, we got together. It was amazing. It was awesome. But eventually, as that novelty started to wear off, as it does with everybody's relationship, I started to recognize that I was becoming someone else. And it wasn't her fault, but I was becoming someone else because I was allowing the environment that I'd placed myself in and the decisions and the choices that I was making to overshadow a lot of the values and beliefs and actions and behaviors that I had relied upon and enjoyed for a significant part of my adult life to make me the person that I was, that she ultimately fell in love with. I started to change and I recognized that in myself. And, even from a small standpoint of, I recognized it in my energy being affected, my enthusiasm for things, my focus and effort, my attention on things outside of the relationship, because I was putting all of my focus, all of my energy into the relationship. And the things that we were doing in our relationship were somewhat conflicting of the way in which I like to live my life. Now, to caveat, the main thing really for me, it wasn't the food, it wasn't the time, it wasn't the connection. All of those things were great. It was the drink. This is me being a bit more specific now. I have been teetotal before. The longest I went teetotal for to memory is about 2.5 years. I went to a military dinner once upon a time. I reintroduced alcohol back into my life at said military dinner. And as a byproduct of going teetotal, when I reintroduced alcohol, my relationship with it hadn't changed. I still treated it the same way. And I did that a number of times over the course of my adult life. Until eventually one day I realized that going teetotal wasn't the right thing for me to do, because cutting it out entirely altogether, there was still a possibility that at some point, certainly based on the evidence that I had, I was going to bring it back into my life. And that's what typically happened. I reintroduced it back into my life. So I recognized that what I needed to do was actually improve my relationship with it rather than cut it out altogether. And that's what I've done since. So the caveat to this story is that I'm not teetotal. I don't necessarily advocate the guys that I work with to go teetotal, unless, of course, they want to. It's a choice. It's something to experiment with. Everybody's different. But for me, it's about improving one's relationship with. And that's for another post. I'm not going to go into what that means specifically. But the point that I'm making is that alcohol was a problem for me. Because I was drinking in excess, it just became something I did more than I'd like to. And it was affecting my sleep. Therefore, it was affecting my energy. It was affecting my mood. It was affecting everything. Okay? In part, gaining weight. And because I wasn't sleeping, I was then making decisions that I wouldn't normally make, whether that be in my diet or my lifestyle. And a big one for that was that I wasn't getting out as much. The mountains, for example, adventure, climbing, hiking, big expeditions. They've been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And I wasn't doing any of those things anymore. I might not be training as often because I was feeling sluggish from my choices over the weekend. Anyway, like I said, about 6 months in, I got to a point where I started to really recognize that I was becoming someone I didn't want to be. Not drastically, you just get that feeling that, I felt better. I feel great because of the relationship that I'm in and the way things are going. But inside myself, I just felt different and I didn't like it. And Fast forward now to maybe, I think it was February the following year. So this is just under 12 months after Abby and I met. I remember vividly, like it was yesterday, she approached me and said, next weekend, a work colleague of hers had asked her to go to a all-you-can-eat Chinese restaurant to celebrate this work colleague of Abby's birthday. And she said, it's +1. Would you like to come? Can you come? I'd like you to come. And of course, still wanting to please Abby, let's be honest, I said yes. I didn't even think about it. It was just an instant response, instant reaction. But following that, for days, and this coincided with feelings I was having in the moment that I've just explained to you. For 3 or 4 days after I'd said yes to Abby, I felt worse. I was miserable. Because I was miserable, I was unenthusiastic. Because I was unenthusiastic, my energy was down. I was really unproductive in work. I was just a shadow of myself. And it took me a few days to recognize it, but it was the looming commitment that I had made to Abby about going to this Chinese in what was going to be maybe 48 hours time, the weekend to come, was having a real kind of pull on me. I remember just thinking, this is it. I'm constantly doing things to please other people. And it's the same with this. I am trying to please Abby by attending something, a celebration of somebody's birthday that I don't even know. I don't like Chinese food. I genuinely don't. I don't like Chinese food. I'm going to be drinking again. I'm not going to be drinking a drink that I want or I like or I enjoy because of the type of place that we're going to. I'm going to feel like crap going into work again on Monday, and this whole cycle is just going to continue. And in that moment, I experienced, you could say, enough suffering or frustration that I knew something had to change. So that night, I approached Abby, and I said, look, and this was weird, right? Bearing in mind, I'd never done anything like this before since meeting her 11 months prior. I said to her, it's got nothing to do with you, our relationship. It's got nothing to do with me wanting or not wanting to spend time. I said, but I've had some thought, and I told her, I'm not going to come with you this weekend. I said, you go and have your time with your mates, your work colleagues, and I'm going to go and do me, because there are certain things that I need to do in order for me to be who I want to be, who I know I am, the best version of myself. And she got upset. She actually cried. She made the assumption, regardless of what I had said, her chimp had got the better of her and had convinced her that, well, that's it now, the honeymoon period's over, he doesn't want to spend time with me, what have I done, what have I said, what's happened, what's he going to do? And it was quite simply because the thing that I was now doing was so contrasting to how the previous 11 months had been. Anyway, 24 hours had passed. She come around, she recognized, yeah, I get it. It's no problem. She kind of got over the initial worries that she'd had. A chimp had let its guard down, so to speak, after it venting to her. And I don't know whether she spoke to her mate, maybe. She was quite looking forward to introducing me to a number of her friends. That weekend, she went off. She had a great time. I went off to North Wales and I did a solo wild camp. I climbed the North Ridge of Tryfan. I got to the top, the plateau of the Glider Eye, if you're familiar with it, and I camped on a small lake. I believe it's pronounced Clyn Caseg Freth. I remember it like it was yesterday. There was snow everywhere. I was sticking my tent pegs into 6 inches of snow rather than 6 inches of dirt. It was freezing cold. I remember making a coffee the following morning, and I filled my cup. I felt great, and I went back feeling really good, like I'd recovered, recuperated, found myself again, given myself what I needed in order to be the best version of me. And I was able to then demonstrate that to Abby of how important it was because of how upbeat, enthusiastic, and the skip in my step that I had. I went back with a hard dick for life again, ultimately, because I'd done something for me rather than just continuously being on this perpetual cycle of being the yes man and doing something for somebody else all of the time. I couldn't, and I know this sounds extreme, but in my head at the time, I couldn't justify doing 4 or 5 different things for an individual that I'd never met, likely may never meet again, and if, this is the extreme bit, if was to get hit by a bus the following day, wouldn't cause me to lose sleep in worry or sadness. I know that sounds extreme, but that's where my mindset was at the time. And I'm a people person, right? I do what I do for a living because I like people. So that is an extreme example. Of course, I don't want anyone to get hit by a bus, but that was my justification in my head. Why would I go and do all of these things that would ultimately make me incredibly unhappy, not just in the moment, but also the following week and the continuous cycle I would end up on in making these bad decisions when I could go and do something for myself? So the message in this video, it's not about alcohol. It's not about necessarily relationship decisions, because of course there are messages of the relationship kind in this video. But what I want to emphasize is that you have to protect the things that you need to do in order to be the person that not only you want to be, but your partner, your family, your kids need you to be as well. And when you are the man, you are the provider, the protector, that automatically kind of translates to you being the yes man. You prioritize doing things for other people because that's what providing and protecting is about, right? You do stuff for other people, therefore you say yes to other people's plans and ambitions and aspirations, and you help them with it, and you do stuff around the house, and you work hard, and you do all of these things, but you very rarely put yourself on the top of your priority list. That is the key message in this video. You have to still find time to protect moments where you get to do what you need to do in order to come back feeling full of life again. Might not necessarily be something you can do every week. For me, going in the mountains now is a monthly occurrence. It's where my business, Carder Group, ultimately was built upon, because I then made an agreement with Abby. I'm like, look, this thing worked really well for me. I felt great. I want to feel this more often. I want an unwritten rule within our relationship that every single month I'm allowed to disappear for a day. And sometimes that might be a day and a night, but more often than not, it might just be a day. And now I run monthly events, both for op rebuild clients, but I also have paid for activities as part of my other business, Carder Group, where I take people out on adventures and we go climbing and camping, doing navigation, vertical assault, abseiling, all of these amazing things, driven off the back of this experience that I had back in what would be now 2022 in February. So make sure that you're protecting that time, protecting those activities. And if you don't know what they are, go and explore them, go and experiment with them. Now, I've got guys in the group now who are, in the 50s and learning how to use a skateboard for the first time. Their version is not going out for a weekend adventure. It's spending half an afternoon when they might finish work early, or close the business down a couple of hours early, or spend some time of a weekend maybe when the kids are off doing their own activities, where they will then go to a skate park and learn to do something that they wanted to do when they were kids, because it's fun and enjoyable and it helps them be who they want to be. So make sure that you're doing that. If you need some help figuring that out yourself, then let me know. But it's so crucially important that you protect some time for you and you use it constructively, not to sit and do nothing, but to do things that actually fill your cup. It doesn't have to be adventurous. It could be you learning a new skill. It could be going exploring places that you've never been before. But the key is that you should be doing it alone and for you, not for other people, not for other people's benefit or in the presence of other people, but for you and you alone.